Welcome, everybody, to Future Web Episode 2. We're really, really excited to be here today. We're in a different set, I guess. We have
much
here
more comfortable.
Joey and Daniel. We're going to do a quick round of intros, and then we have our guest Shahed from Via Task, and we're going to get this show kicked off. Awesome.
So you start, Brian. Who are you?
Awesome. Who am I? I'm Brian. I'm founder and CEO of Keep. We're a mobile rewards network.
I'm Joey Primiani, founder of Backplane.
And I'm Daniel Brusilovsky, founder of Teens and Tech Labs.
Shahed?
And I'm Shahed. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Via Task.
Awesome, dude. All right, so we've got a few segments we're going to be sort of throwing in here this time around. Last time we were live, I wasn't in the studio, and
you were at an airport.
Yes, I apologize for the crazy delay in the audio. But today the theme is going to be very interesting. We're going to have sort of a series of segments. We're going to talk mainly, especially in a show like this, it's an opportunity for youth like us to gather and have a forum. And we'd like to welcome very mature comments in the chat room so we can hear some of your feedback. And at the same time, we'd like to sort of go through first a sort of a month summary of the biggest sort of future web relevant stories.
Yep.
And then we're going to talk about, in a segment we call Kids in the Valley and then Beyond, so the Valley beyond just the Valley, of course, which is just to highlight some of the very prominent younger entrepreneurs that have surfaced in the last month. And then we're going to do a new segment we call Guess That Business Model, where we're going to name 5 startups and pretend that we don't know what they are and try to come up with the business models based on just the name, and then, of course, talk about them as well, which is also the fun part. And then the last is we're going to talk about a monthly trend, a very sort of holistic view of what we see as a very bubbling up trend over the last month that may more be the most relevant to the industry at large, but, of course, with the youth community and how we're interacting with the internet as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So I think the first big story, and this is kind of, you know, when we first heard about Steve Jobs' death, I think one of the big things that I think I really saw is that this wasn't just a technology story. This was really a world story. I mean, this was on the front page of newspapers, and CNN was breaking, and all of these, you know, everything happening around the world kind of came to a halt. And I think that really just shows the power of what this man had on not only our industry, but in technology in general and the way that we use. I mean, look at our devices here. I mean, we use iPhones, we use iPads, we use MacBooks. I mean, our lives are around the technology that Steve Jobs really helped to revolutionize.
He just made such an impact on, you know, me in particular, and I know tons of people in Silicon Valley of just really valuing the immense, you know, about good design, about building beautiful products that people use on a daily basis. And like, you know, when he just, you know, passed, it was like a death of the downtown of like Silicon Valley, and but also I felt like, you know, his legacy lives on in all of us, like literally just a lot of his teachings. And you know, I remember when, you know, he passed, like people just like texted me and like were constantly talking about you know, how much of an impact he really had on our lives. And I think we can really learn a lot from, you know, we're really here on Earth to like make an impact and create and really dent the universe, right? And I think, you know, if we create things, we will live basically forever inside of our, you know, the products and things that he
was
create.
56, wasn't he?
Yeah,
so young,
young age to, you know, it was a very somber week and still a somber month. I think a lot of people are still talking about this. This is
absolutely.
not a topic that I think will ever go away.
I mean, if you know, even on Apple's site, if you go to apple.com/Steve Jobs,
yeah, hit comments from people.
There's over 1 million, and I'm
insane.
sure there's going to be millions more of people just sharing their thoughts. I mean, this really just shows the impact Steve Jobs had on in
you know
our
what's
world.
super telltale though was just the fact that there were a sort of flowers and letters and cards, and just people were paying tribute to this person that they had never met before, most of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many CEOs pass, or just people in general, where memorials spring up around the world, just like that. And
absolutely.
And I, you know, there was just this is also just an indicator of what was so truly impacting about him, is that even with his death and now his biography coming out, there are a ton of people who are going to buy that thing.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be, I think, probably one of the hottest books this year.
It just reminds me, it makes me laugh of it. Not too long ago, like Daniel and I, we went driving by his house in downtown Palo Alto and like trying to see
if Steve was there.
Get a peek outside.
But this is not just a phenomenon exclusive to us here.
No,
You have to realize
absolutely
around
not.
the world, and even in China, where Steve has never visited China. I don't know if you guys ever knew this, but he has never visited China. And even for a country that he never stepped foot in, even though the products and its impact that it had on that, on just the way that the youth of that country realized what was possible through technology was just astounding.
Can you? I mean, have you seen the Apple stores in China?
I haven't seen
They're
them in
some of the
person.
most
They look
gorgeous
ridiculous,
Apple
dude.
stores.
Yeah. They're huge. They're like they
There's
were
one
meant
in
to
the
make-
airport that's 2 stories high and it's glass and it's over a overpass. I mean, some of the most beautiful products are, there because of Steve, and I truly believe that his legacy will continue, and I think Apple won't stop innovating. I mean, there's rumors saying that he had a product roadmap for the next few years.
Definitely 10 years.
Can I tell you though, that's just people trying to cope.
Yeah.
I have to be very honest with you. I just think it's people who are just trying to cope with this. I think people ultimately feel like a big piece of innovation was ripped out of this world. It's now up to a lot of people here to fill this void. And that's the challenge, and that's what's exciting, of course. But we've lost something truly amazing to our world that I know this is very selfish, but I'm just bummed that he didn't touch TV yet. I can't wait for him to revolutionize TV. But that's
Did you guys hear?
What do you think, Shahed?
Did you guys hear Steve Jobs actually met his biological father in a Mediterranean restaurant? He mentioned it in his biography where he met, like he was searching for the mother and his father, and he happened to find his father in this restaurant, and he was like this big owner of a Mediterranean restaurant in like the valley, and he met him. He shook hands with him, and since then, he never spoke to him, never bothered calling him or even asking about him. And it was just like unbelievable story that was covered by 60 Minutes. And
but the fact that someone was an orphan and could make that much impact on the world, not that that's something that would affect it, but still, from a hard history, he was able to do. We have no excuse. Yeah. We have no excuse. None of you have excuses. Seriously. This is just it. Just looking at it, and he will be remembered forever as our generation's Edison. And it will be, it'll be a tough.
It'll be interesting to see how Apple will continue without having that person like Steve at the helm. I mean, I think one of the biggest things is, we look at the iPhone 4S launch and we kind of look at it and we say, why would Apple launch a product like this? Like, where was the iPhone 5? And you have to think that Steve Jobs probably was extremely involved in this. And the fact that he put up until 6 weeks before he died, he was still being involved in Apple. I mean, that just shows a dedication.
Working till the very end.
Yeah, he really worked until he had literally nothing left. And, I think, the 4S, I think it's a fantastic phone, and we're going to talk about it later. But, his legacy will carry on, and not only the products that Apple makes, but also other people's products where he's had a huge influence in.
People are forgetting this is a company that's got a long history relative to other companies, obviously, in the Valley. And there's articles that are springing up just by people going, well, you'd be silly to sell your Apple stock. This doesn't make any sense. This is not one man's company. Of course, people perceive it to be, but there are thousands of people that are involved with making this thing the most innovative company that would have ever existed.
Yeah.
And I have complete confidence that they're going to make something out of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Are we going to move on here?
Yeah, let's move
All
on
right.
to our next story.
Rest in
Netflix.
peace, Steve. We'll love you
Yes.
forever.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yes.
All right. Netflix and Quickster, a little bit more of a funnier note
Yes.
here. I think it was probably a month ago when they announced that they were creating this division, right?
Yeah, about a month ago.
Yeah. Do you want to give a summary for those of them who don't understand what's going on with Quickster or nobody paid attention?
Sure. So basically, what ended up happening is Netflix is kind of in this place where they have this huge business with DVDs, where they mail you DVDs of what content you want. And then they have another huge business, which is streaming online. And so they had two different types of subscription plans. They had just streaming web only, and then they had the actual DVDs. And what they did is they upped the prices on the DVDs to try to get more people to switch to the streaming.
Yeah.
What ended up happening is people backfired saying, hey, I actually like, sitting down in my living room and watching.
All right, let's talk about the backfire. Okay, I think it was just the name and the execution was just.
Well,
Quickster's
what happened
the most
was
goofy name you can possibly think.
Yeah. Well, what happened was Netflix decided, let's spin out a second company called Quickster that will only be the actual DVD part. Netflix.com will remain streaming, and that's all it would do. And then Quickster would be the actual DVD mailing.
I don't know about you guys, but streaming is definitely the only reason why I use Netflix. Like,
and it's that's the only account I have is streaming only.
Yeah, I only use it for
Do you
streaming.
use the streaming service?
I only use streaming. I don't get home rentals at all.
Yeah. Did you guys start with the home rental stuff though?
No,
I do. Why don't you just go to Redbox?
You started streaming.
I started streaming only.
So that's crazy, right? So so the way that I don't know is you knew that they did the DVD?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But I
You weren't
don't
interested
remember
in
the
that.
last time I've used my DVD player.
I mean, I don't even have a.
Yeah,
I don't even,
we don't have.
I don't own a
DVD
TV,
players.
and I'm not gonna. There's no way I can just play a DVD.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a need for one ever in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We should all just get all the DVDs together and do a mass burning or something like
no,
that,
would-
symbolic
that would
of the
ruin
new
the-
digital
that would
age.
ruin the environment. I think the salt to the wound was that there was a dude, Jason Castillo, who had the Quickster Twitter account.
Yes, this was
So
hilarious.
for a publicly traded company that decided to spin off a brand, did not bother to check if they had the Twitter account. That just shows that's a huge. So they just didn't have their T's crossed or their I's dotted, and that is a significant sign of just how disorganized.
In
they
this
were with
day and
launch.
age, you can't just name a brand and expect just the website to do it for you. You need to look at Facebook. You need to look at Twitter. Maybe Google Plus in the next few months when they start launching, that whole brand angle. But these are things you need to check for. It's like when you're starting a company, one of the first things you do is you check if the domain name is available. You check if the Twitter name, the username is available. I mean, those are the kind of things that you do now. And so I thought it was funny. I mean, it ended up this Jason guy who had the @Quickster account, he apparently was talking about marijuana on his Twitter account and just a bunch of different things. And it's like, for a company like Netflix to overlook what for them may seem like such a small thing, but for everyone else, I mean, that's a pretty big piece of the puzzle.
I just feel like they should have spent more time slowly rolling this out. It makes sense to create a spin-off brand, but you don't just go, bam, everything's Quickster. And you're like, what? This makes no sense.
Yeah.
And
it's, the transition wasn't there.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah,
That
I think,
sucks.
but at the end of the day, look, I pay for Hulu Plus, I pay for Netflix, I pay for Spotify.
You pay way too much for stuff every month, dude.
Exactly, but at the
All right,
same
you get a
time,
beach ball. I'm kidding. Okay, by the way, for those who don't know, there's a new aspect to this show called Beach Ball Judgment that I just decided to create, and I ordered a bunch of beach balls. Basically, if anybody says a stupid comment, you throw the beach ball at them. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, let's see.
That will come later in the show,
That'll come later,
hopefully.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Daniel's gonna get the beach ball thrown at him all the time. But Shahed, I got some question for you. So if you were Netflix, what would you have done?
If I were Netflix?
Yes.
First of all, Quickster was definitely a bad idea. Like, people were saying it was a bad decision, the worst decision I've heard in 20 years. Telling people to quit smoking, and now there's Hulu. There's all these live streaming. There's even a lot of all these
You raised a
websites
good point, dude. You raised the point that Netflix has a great brand. I think the thing they forgot is that they have an amazing brand that's got a lot of, well, not so amazing anymore after this, but they had a lot of equity built with people around the world, right?
But
I almost think
Redbox
this is
is
detrimental to their brand, though,
Oh, it is.
right?
That's what happened.
I mean, it seems like internally this is almost a separate company that they're trying to form, and it's just it doesn't really make sense because Netflix does have such a strong brand. It's almost like a verb where I Netflixed it and go home. And
I still use Netflix even after all of this happened. The fact is, I still use Netflix. I used it last night to watch Arrested Development.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this didn't really affect me personally. I think it affected me more because I look at the tech industry as a whole and I look at what happens.
Do you think this was a problem that only we think is a big issue in terms of image, or is it
people overblow issues all the time?
that's
I think that's how the press are, and I think that's how usually customers are. I mean, look, I think them raising prices, I don't know if I was Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, I don't know if I would do that, but I think it makes sense to separate the two businesses, where there's a core business that's streaming only, and then there's a core business that's the DVD side.
But don't you think that I see that people should be looking towards the future and where it's going. And obviously DVD sales are, there's no need for DVD anymore. So really we should be investing in where it's going next. And that's completely streaming. So I'm not even sure why they still do DVD sales.
I think it was actually funny.
I think they should just stop in general.
Do you think it's an AOL thing? You know what I mean? In terms of the dial-up, they still have dial-up.
Yeah, it's still.
They're not going to kill it.
What is it? Like 20% of their revenue?
I don't know.
Some ridiculous number that we look at now. But I think it was funny. I mean, they announced it on through a video where it was Reed Hastings and the new CEO of Quickster. I mean, it kind of felt cheesy in a way.
Yeah, it was.
But I think at the end of the day, I'm still a happy Netflix customer because I have it on my iPhone, I have it on my iPad, I have it on my laptop. Wherever I have internet access, I can still get my content. I'm just a little upset that I can't get it the same day that a show necessarily comes out. Like, I want to be able to watch The Office the same day it comes out.
That's true.
So right now, probably to do that is Hulu comes first, and then I would say Netflix. I've seen that. They usually get that first. Yeah. Or there's also another site, Ice Films, that's a RIP site, kind of. They get it first, too.
There's one thing I don't get. This is a tangent, but I still think that it's worth talking about is even though I pay for Hulu Plus, I still get ads.
I agree. And I tweeted about this.
So weird. Why would they do that?
But listen to this rebuttal.
Okay.
We pay for.
I will listen to this rebuttal.
We pay for no beach ball. We pay for television, yet we still get ads on television. What's the difference between online media and?
Okay, you don't get the beach ball. That's an interesting point, but
thank you.
But they. Okay, keep on going.
No, I just think that. Personally, yes, I agree that if I'm paying whatever $10 a month or whatever it is for Hulu Plus, I shouldn't get the ads.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I'm paying for content on a regular TV, should I get the ads there too?
Yeah, that's true. But you're paying for access to the networks. You're not paying for the content.
No, I think I'm paying for the content.
You think you're paying for the content?
On Hulu, I am.
I just think that Hulu is just unfortunate because it's an internet thing, and we expect that when we're paying for something on the internet, we're paying for access to the content, and that's what we're going for.
I rather do it legally than illegally. I think.
And we're not saying that you're doing it illegally.
And but I'm saying that's why I think with Hulu Plus, it's like I'm paying because if I wasn't paying, then I would probably get it on the Pirate Bay or whatever other.
If Hulu charged you more and they said that there were no ads, would you pay more?
Absolutely.
I think it's the convenience factor. Like, obviously you can get it on Pirate Bay, but sure, if you could pay a couple of dollars to make it get it like quickly and really fast, that's what it's all about. And really good user experience, just being able to download and streaming on the site. Like,
but we have to think,
I'll pay for that.
With Hulu, not only are we dealing with Hulu, but we're also all these licensing deals that we don't have control over. And this just shows why the record and, that whole industry is just so messed up is because of things like this.
They have such blinders on, though.
They don't understand what's going on. They don't see.
I really want one of the executives to just sit in a room with people who actually use Hulu and be like, there's like inconsistent stuff sometimes where there's some shows that are not Hulu Plus enabled.
Yeah.
And you can't watch that show, and it's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons I actually did get Hulu Plus is so I can get Hulu content on my iPad.
Yeah.
So I think, you have to think, why are you paying for Hulu Plus or Netflix or Spotify or whatever service they are, and are you actually getting more out of it by paying for it? I personally think yes. I think that mobility part of Hulu Plus on my iPad is worth the whatever $10 a month it is, because I use my iPad so much. I use it to consume content. I use it to create content. Web browsing, email, all of that as well. And I think just to get Hulu content on my iPad is worth the money.
I use Netflix all the time on my iPad. What is some good benefits to getting actually like Hulu Plus though on your iPad? Is it just the TV shows that you get?
Shows, movies, all the content pretty much on Hulu.
Pretty much
plus
a lot of
content.
that is on Netflix, right? Like pretty much a lot of that.
The one thing is Hulu usually gets content the day after it airs. So if it's a TV show, it'll get it the day after.
The speed, yeah.
Hulu's earlier.
Yeah, Hulu's earlier.
But then the thing too is there's another interesting thing that kind of came out over the last month, and that is ABC and NBC all have their own iPad apps now.
And I use those too.
And you can watch. They're free.
Yeah,
And-
but they
and-
still have ads.
But Hulu still has
That's true.
that, so there's like really
Yeah.
very little difference. If you have, so the thing is, if you have a show that you like that is just on a network, you can just download that network's app. You don't have to go buy a Hulu Plus subscription. But the thing is, I
Shahed,
just feel
what-
like there is no uniformity here. Someone needs to step out and be like, "Hey, networks, all this licensing stuff that you're going through, this is really kind of stupid. The consumer is kind of taking the brunt of the abuse here. And there's no consistency. There's weird discussions and shows that just get turned off once in a while because of some kind of licensing problem, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, stop being so greedy and let this experience online grow its own legs. It won't unless you let it run."
Yeah.
I'm really excited when we can start seeing movies come out the day of streaming.
Yes.
And the same day that it comes out in theaters.
Yes.
Like, I think that's coming pretty soon. There's probably just a lot of it's all about business.
Consistently, please. That's a problem. Consistently.
What services? I mean, do you use Hulu and Netflix, Shahed?
I only use Netflix. I haven't really gotten into the Hulu Plus that much, but I've heard like the things about Hulu Plus with ads and stuff. I was like, I'm just gonna stick with Netflix for now and see like where this takes me. Other than that, like if I do need to watch TV shows, record on my DVR or whatever it may be, because I'm always home a lot, so working on like my company and just like watching TV at the same time. So it's just like convenient for me, like just to have like one system. I don't like pay for like 3 other systems. So like like Netflix, probably I've been using that for quite a while now. So the Quickster story was interesting to me. But yeah, it was just like Netflix now. I don't know, like is Hulu Plus like a good decision for me? Like, will people recommend it versus like Netflix? What would you guys prefer?
So one of the things that I find really interesting is, so I have a Vizio TV. That's a connected TV. That's what they call them, where it has Netflix built in. It actually doesn't have Hulu built in. So that's really interesting.
Inconsistency, dude.
Yeah. So I think
Dude, you seem to have a lot of TV products, man. You have a lot of time.
I don't use them all. I mean, my parents use them too.
Oh, yeah, you live at home. No, sorry.
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest innovations that come out of Netflix recently that hasn't launched is the do not share button. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, because basically somebody just mentioned in the chat room, like Spotify for TV and movies. And I totally agree. I think people need to see what people are watching all the time, what people are listening to all the time, and making that experience a little bit more like social, just being able to see what my friends are watching without me having to
use like that?
Yeah, to accept a very
I'm
user
exactly
implicit.
the opposite.
Really? Like
I disagree. I'm with Daniel.
So you're on Into Now, right? Like you downloaded that app, and I think it's very similar to seeing what people are watching right now. So if I'm watching an episode of Glee, I'm watching something that like I want to be talking about something, or like a show or some live event. I want to know who is watching it at the same time as me, and I think making it user implicit rather than explicit, people will kind of do that more often than.
So here are my feelings, and this pertains more to Spotify and Facebook. I think for me, I have an interesting taste in music. I mean, I listen to all types of music.
Britney Spears?
No, not quite that. But I think, I don't necessarily want
Britney.
everyone. I don't want necessarily everyone knowing what music I'm.
No,
beef.
Britney Spears.
This means I got to throw it back at you.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think I don't want necessarily people always knowing what music I'm listening to, and I think that
Because you're embarrassed. Cool, it's fine.
I'm not embarrassed by it. I mean, sometimes I listen to like rap and stuff like that, and
You know
I don't
why I
want.
don't share? I'm
Britney
just
remixes,
considerate
yeah.
of people
Please.
not wanting to see like the 40,000 songs that I may just be spamming into the news feed. And I'm not spamming it. It's just like all this passive sharing stuff, though, dude. Here's the thing. I want it to not only be the news feed. I guess I have the option to turn it off. I'm sure from my side. But
You
it's
can.
like, it's like it's just like I really don't need that information.
Yeah, now you don't need that information. But people said that same thing when Facebook and Twitter first came
True.
out about,
You're right.
why am I broadcasting what I'm eating all the time?
Zuckerberg probably knows something that we don't. So you're right. I mean,
He knows a lot of things about us.
Yeah, sure.
Shall we move to
All
the
right, let's move on.
Next time.
4S. Let's just do this really quickly because everybody knows about it.
boom
Yeah,
iPhone
dude,
4S?
thank you for bragging.
Am I the only one
where's
without
the
a
ball, man?
4S?
This is the second time.
No. I have the ball now. The
Okay,
power
no-
is in my hands.
No gadget bragging. No gadget bragging.
So, did you get the 4S?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Why did you get the 4S and why didn't you get the 4S? Shahed, did you get a 4S?
No, I did not. I'm so.
Don't
with the
you use a
4.
BlackBerry?
I used to, but now I have the iPhone 4.
So at least you upgraded in a little bit.
There's nothing wrong with
Yes.
Britney Spears, by the way, Jar.
No, there's nothing. We're not saying there's anything wrong.
I
Everybody's,
really
like,
don't
trying to
listen to
defend her.
Britney Spears.
Everybody's defending her right now. It's so funny.
Go, Brett, go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian, why'd you get the 4S?
So one of our employees, Adam, needed an upgrade to a 4 from a 3G, and so I just got the 4S and gave him my 4.
Fair
and I
enough.
was also eligible for a hardware upgrade, which is within the time period that I had the phone for. Very few people have the eligibility unless they've had a certain, like, a big plan, which I had because I just use my phone too much. So I just did that. And
Don't
then
we all
Siri,
use our
Siri
phones
was
too much?
also like, I'll admit, like, I would say that Siri is one of the main reasons, right? When you see the video and the guy's like, move my meetings.
We were
and all that
using it
stuff.
on the drive here from San Francisco.
And I was using it to call you
to
back.
text you. Yeah, I while we were driving, I used Siri to text you.
I get Siri fail once in a while, though. I don't know if you guys have.
I
It's
think
server
the problem
problems,
is it's server problems. I think it's being overloaded right now. Earlier this morning, it was completely down, and I think these are one of the things that that Apple really needs to work on is their cloud services.
Yeah.
Apple is not an online company. I mean, so for them, what I find really fascinating is they only have one huge data center in North Carolina. And everyone around the world is going to be connecting to one place.
Yeah.
Why not space it out across the entire world? I
They
mean,
gotta invest
things
more
like
money.
that.
They
Yeah.
have $40 billion in cash. They should spend some money on more data centers.
They do with CDN or something like
Yeah,
distributed.
but I just feel that there's certain things they can make Siri local on, like changing tracks, like moving tracks. Why do I need to send a message back to space and back when I need to change a track? That makes no sense.
I mean, people in the chat room are saying, remember, this is a beta version. And it is.
That's fine, guys, but like it's beta, but it should at least work.
It
right?
does
I mean,
work, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
The basic features are there. I think one of the things I'm really excited about, and I hope Apple does, is an API for Siri. Like,
Yes.
I'd be able to love to check into Foursquare using my
Using
voice.
Siri, yes.
There's a bunch of things like that.
But you know
that I
they will
think-
do that. That's what's so exciting about this. That's the reason why people
Yeah.
are jazzed.
Well, we hope Apple does it.
No, I mean, didn't they say they were going to do that, Shahed? Did they say
I haven't seen that, but like the only thing I've heard about Siri and what people were really interested by was the humor that Siri brings when you ask like a question like, "What's the meaning of life?" and stuff like that. So it's just like I don't have an iPhone 4S, but like I've been reading blogs and articles and the site that says Siri says or something, and it was just interesting to
that?
see like Apple like integrated a little humor into Siri, and it was just like unbelievable.
But that was such
Yeah.
I'm willing to put money on this, that this was them, like, with, like, 5 dudes in a room going, like, what are the random questions that people might ask? Let's just write a bunch of canned responses that are clever and witty. And that's going to generate us, like, a bazillion press articles about how witty and clever.
I think
There's
it's
been so much press just about
Just
the
about that.
responses.
yeah.
But they're all canned.
There's like all Tumblr blogs and everything. I think the thing is that Siri is making it more anthropomorphic, which is like more about making it more personal, having this kind of like kind of personality that my computer doesn't have necessarily. But I can feel like like Siri is almost like my personal assistant, right? And I think
That's the goal. Is I use it. Find me the nearest Chipotle, or find me a nearest gas station, things
Dude,
like that.
that's huge. So I was like, I'm running out of gas. So
Yeah.
I told Siri, and she's like, here's the closest where. Anyways, bottom line, I feel that what Apple will always be able to nail down, and they're never the ones that do it first. They're always the ones that kind of just do it right. And the way
It's
that
like
they do
copy
it right,
and paste.
yeah,
Multitasking.
If I were to like synthesize it into one thing that they're just really good at, and that is they just acknowledge the fact, and this is such an obvious fact, but it's something that a lot of companies fail to do, which is guess who's using these things? Human beings, right?
Yes.
I almost feel like Android, it's clever to do the marketing thing where it's like, ooh, droid, but it's like I feel like a robot using it. But I want to feel like a human being, and Apple makes me feel like a human being.
Yes.
And I think in terms of like the future of search, like Google should be actually pretty afraid of this type of technology because the future of search is more about this conversational kind of getting this information from a machine rather than me having to type it into a text box, right?
Absolutely.
So it's more about the serendipitous type of searching and people talking, getting information from outside sources about things that are going on, events that I might necessarily not know about or want to search for. But Siri would be able to do that.
But what's freaky is it's not even the explicit indicator of the fact that you want to search something. It's just the indicator that you want something or you need something, right? And so search has always been sort of this technical layer in between that, Google invented or sort of other companies have invented because technically we needed to do that. But now what Siri does is that it's so organic, it becomes just, I want this. There's no searching necessary, and that we don't see the searching occur, but it happens, right? And that's such a paradigm shift in how we're thinking about interacting, like this HCI stuff, right? This human computer interaction stuff that everybody studies. You know what it is? It's the fact that I'm talking to the computer. That's the bottom line. And if I can do that well and that the computer actually understands what I'm talking about, that's huge.
I think about this a lot. I think about maybe if Siri came out 20 years ago, this would have made sense to humans. But I think we're so ingrained in knowing how to formulate search queries right now because we're just used to knowing how to use Google and things like that we almost don't want to, use like ask.com or something like that in making, if I want to see how far the moon is from Earth, I would say, moon distance from Earth rather than saying how far is the moon from Earth.
Let's move on to, actually, let's just skip Kindle Fire because I don't think it's that cool. What do you guys think? Let's just do this rapid fire.
Yeah, next.
Next, okay.
Yep.
Sorry, Bezos. Groupon IPO.
It's finally happening, apparently.
Yay.
Yes, but aren't they only raising $500 million now?
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it like way more?
I think it was over $1 billion last time.
Yeah. I love how we're just like, it's just $500 million.
Groupon is a disaster, says the quote from Business Insider.
Yeah.
Personally,
guys,
Go ahead, Shahed.
Yeah, did you guys hear about this employee that that worked at Groupon, and for 1 year he happened to get within salary and bonuses make $38.7 million or something like that?
Rob Salmon, the former president.
That was Rob?
Yes.
Yeah, he was only there for a year.
And he made $30.7 million.
32 million.
From
32.
1 year.
From 1 year. Mostly
Is
stock,
that even,
of course.
what?
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess that's what an executive at Groupon, that's what you get. But I think here, at the end of the day, I've never used Groupon. I don't believe in Groupon. I don't think...
You've never used Groupon?
I've never
I've never
used
used Groupon.
I don't think...
Wow.
Groupon has a major flaw in customer retention.
Shahed, have you used Groupon before? Oh, wait, you're Chicago. Of course you have.
Yeah, I've used Groupon multiple times. In fact, I've been to Groupon, seen the people. It's been tremendous. But overall, I don't feel that experience that I feel when when my friends use Living Social or whatever the other competitors are. I mean, there's a lot of similar startups that are doing these deals that they're providing better experiences than Groupon is, and I was like, that's amazing. What's wrong with Groupon? Why are they not providing this sort of experience that all these other smaller companies could provide?
I think from a user experience standpoint, it really would help Groupon to do a lot of push notifications and things like that to be able to actually, I know I'm walking around, downtown and I want to see some Groupon deals rather than me having to search for it or see on Groupon that I can just literally instantly get kind of a push notification or something like that would make it much easier for me to discover deals as well as use Groupon probably much more than I do right now.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very sad that they're going through this, but this is just an indicator of hype.
Oh, absolutely.
Now really showing it's rearing its ugly head. All right, next.
Next, the new version of Android is called Ice Cream Sandwich.
Yay.
And it actually looks pretty cool.
I gotta say, yeah. I mean, what did you see the video? Did you check out the new screenshot stuff?
Yeah, it looks actually pretty sweet.
The new Gmail looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's we have the video going right there.
Yeah.
But I think, at the end of the day, will I switch to Android as my primary phone? Probably not, but will it be an awesome tablet? I think so.
It's a good point. Why do you think that?
Well, I think at the end of the day, my life is so integrated with the iPhone that I find it hard to switch to Android.
Interesting.
I think, I use iCal, I use the native Mail app, I use all these native Apple apps that for me to switch to something like Android, I think it would be easier to do using a tablet, which isn't necessarily an everyday reliable device.
Can I go off on a
device
whim?
I don't rely on every day.
Can I go off on women and bet that I think Android is going to take over the small business to medium size enterprise market that BlackBerry had?
Absolutely.
And they're going to fill that void. And the main reason is, guess what? I'm going to actually buy one of these devices as my work phone. The main reason is because all of my work stuff is actually Google. It's all Google apps.
When Sergey Brin and Vic Condotra from Google were at the Web 2.0 Expo, they asked the audience, which was 3,000 people, how many use Google apps for their business? Almost the entire room raised their hands.
Yeah.
I use Google Apps. You use Google Apps.
Religiously.
You use Google Apps.
So that's the thing. So what I'm asking you, your personal life may be on Apple stuff, right? Like iCal.
All my stuff is on Google Apps.
Yeah.
So I could easily switch to
That's
Android.
what I'm saying. So there we go. You just backpedaled on what you just said. You said that you had iCloud, you had Apple iPhone.
But
as
I
part
don't
of-
use gmail.com. I use Gmail through mail.app.
Yeah, but you can use Gmail through the Mail app in Nexus. What was it called? Galaxy.
Galaxy,
Nexus, whatever.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yes, that is. But I think the experience between the iPhone
Well, I
want
want to play with this before I make judgment. I haven't played with it yet. I think it's going to be Google. One of the biggest complaints that I had was actually the font. And you as a designer, I'm sure you I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I had a big issue with the Android font. And I'm
I just
glad
recently
they've changed.
switched a lot of my designs from Helvetica to
Yeah.
Myred Pro, which
Yeah.
is a big step for
Apple
me. Yeah,
font?
but yeah, it's still Apple font. But
Are you half kidding? Is this
no, I'm not. Like
proud of yourself for
some of the
moving
promo things. Yeah, you're using. What was the font that we're using for Galaxy? I don't even know.
It's a new font. It's called Roboto.
Roboto.
Yeah. It's a hybrid of like 30 different like sans serif fonts that are very sexy looking, and they're just like, let's make it. And I think it's awesome. I think it looks very friendly. I think it looks good. I want to play with it. I want to see the smoothness of it. There's one more thing that's design oriented that I had a huge issue with that I'm really glad that they changed. And I know I'm a very big nitpicker, is the scroll bar. So I know people are like, why is it a huge issue with the scroll bar? Well, the old scroll bars in Android look like these little like pills. They're like kind of weird, like shaded. But the new ones are more Apple-esque. They're like they're not there to be in your face. They're just functional.
Yeah.
And anyways,
You know what I'm excited to play around with? Lytro.
yes, that's the next story.
Yes.
Great segue, dude.
Thank you very much. Lytro, amazing new camera. I've heard that they've been working on this for the last however many years, and I truly feel this is revolutionizing the way we take pictures. And I
think more people need to know about it first. But,
Well,
and that's
yes.
why we're doing our part.
Yeah.
But for those of you who haven't checked out Lytro, it's up on the screen right now. After it loads, Liz, feel free to click somewhere just to like focus in the picture in and out. Just click.
You can see here. This is my
Whoa!
favorite example, the spider example.
Whoa!
You can see like the depth of field.
Isn't
and
that
being able to
trippy?
click. It's insane.
That's
a little
trippy.
too loud, Brian,
Sorry.
but I appreciate
Yeah.
the enthusiasm.
Beach ball.
Yep, beach ball.
Don't
That was
break
not
the
a dumb
lava
comment.
lamp.
Yeah, don't hurt the lava lamp.
All right.
Yeah.
But anyways, Lytro. It's a pretty amazing new camera, which does it's the light sensors, and the white balancing or some crazy
Don't
technology.
try to explain technically.
Yeah.
I wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really understand the technology.
All it is like this tube camera that seems to allow you to focus after, which
Yes.
I love because I just feel so I just feel like the way we focus with cameras right now is just so weird, right? I have to wait for my camera to focus and then you
take the picture.
Why not just take it and then
then-
like the whole three-dimensional
Absolutely.
I don't know.
It needs to be super simple when you be able to upload your pictures like on the web client though, because that's the only thing that I worry about. Like if you're uploading it to Facebook or Twitter, you're not going to be able to have like the functionality to be able to actually change the focus level. You know, so like if I've seen this done before from like Kodak and a couple other like companies did some sort of like web interface, and it felt a little bulky and kind of slow. But if they make it seem like really polished and that I can just upload it really quickly and be able to share it quickly through the site, I think that's really important.
Yeah,
and,
awesome.
and these are some really great examples on the screen.
Yeah,
And
I love this
it
thing.
just
Did you guys order one? I think it's too expensive. Though.
Well, here are the prices. For
Yeah.
the red,
Yeah.
which is 16 gigabytes, it's 500.
That's ridiculous.
Graphite, which is 8 gigabytes, is 399. Sorry, 499, 399. And there's blue, which is also 8 gigs, which is 399. A little on the
$400, dude.
A little on the expensive side,
Yeah.
but at the same time, this technology is pretty amazing.
It's cool. I want
It's
to wait
cool.
for it to be integrated into more devices. I hope they allow other companies to license it, because Lytro, in their ability to distribute, will not be able to get what companies like Samsung and Nikon and Canon have been able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving
All right,
on.
Next story.
Why do we always praise startups when they raise funding?
And we'd like to thank Gary Vaynerchuk for
Yes. I
his
picked the story
comments.
for a particular reason, which was it's a phenomena that we observe here in the Valley way too much, which is when someone raises money, everybody's like, oh!
perfect example, Color raising
Yes.
a lot of money, $41 million.
Yeah.
And that was the main focus of the press. It wasn't their product.
No.
it was all this money. And there's
Yeah.
all this expectation that comes with raising $41 million.
But people have to realize, and this is something that I just wanted to share because I know there's some people who aren't from here that are watching, is that when you're actually in it, you have to remember, and this is you raise money, you have to realize though that this is not a accomplishment. It's not an accomplishment at all. It's something you've been able to do to enable you to accomplish more or to be able to do what you wanted to accomplish. But the funding itself is not the objective. And if you can do it without funding, then let's do it.
Yeah, I think there's certain things that need funding and certain things that don't need funding. But at the same time, it's really not about the money. It's about the product. It's what you're creating. The money just helps fuel all of that.
All right, Layden just called me out, and I'm just going to respond to you right now, dude. So this is an article that is an indicator of this culture. It's not me asking for it. That article was not written from my request. And because of that, this culture and how the press is creating sensationalism from funding for younger people, that takes away focus on the actual product itself as well. I will admit, there's a lot more focus on my age than it is on my company or my product. I prefer that people focus on the product itself rather than my age or the ability for me to raise money.
I think it's at the end of the day, it's always focused on the user. This is why we build technology to really change the world in the way that people, make a positive impact on the world. And I think, people don't really care about, say a new product comes out, who it's funded by, or, what angels or whoever's on board. It's about, is it cool and does it make my life better? At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Like, and if it accomplishes that, then, perfect. But, behind that, it just matters to the businesses in Silicon Valley.
Shahed, what do you think about this? I mean, you're about to go raise around, aren't you?
Yeah, we are actually soon. But other than that, like in Chicago and when I was in San Francisco, there's like a lot of people when I was at TechCrunch just backstage. When I told people I was 16, they're like, "Holy crap, dude! Aren't you like supposed to be in school right now and like hanging out with your friends and stuff?" But it's just like all this ageism like showed all these people like why I'm creating this startup, and like a lot of people were thinking like, "You're crazy, like stay in school, you're supposed to have girlfriends and all that crap and like go party and all that stuff." But like I don't want people like, that's where I go into my blog. If you read my article, I go into like why what motivated me to start my company this early on, and like why you shouldn't focus on my age and why you should focus more on the product. Because like for the product, for ViaTask, we've been like getting tremendous people signing up, tremendous people using the product, and it's just been like, it's been amazing. And then like when people find out I'm 16, they just get turned off. Like 16-year-old like creating this company, like why should we write him a check? Like what's the point of it? What's in it for me? Like,
so then make the company the focus of it, dude.
That's what I've been doing, but like soon people find out I'm 16, they're like, "Oh God, let's like stop responding to his emails," and like
I don't think it's that. That's a little extreme though.
But it's some people do, some people don't. I mean, like it's possible. But yeah, like that's why I've been like telling a lot of people like 16 is not all that. Like I don't drink my own Kool-Aid, if you guys know what that means. And it's just been like, it's crazy.
I would throw a beach ball. Of course we know what drinking Kool-Aid means. All right, so
if only we could throw a virtual beach ball.
All right, moving on.
Top 25 under 25.
Yes.
We're moving into our next segment, which is Kids in the Valley. Business Insider published a story called Top 25. What was that?
I wanted to just point out the fact that they chose the only, like, just let's face it, she's a not bad looking girl that's younger that decided to be the cover picture of this article, and the title of it goes "Hot Young Stars." I just wanted to just point that out.
Okay. Moving on.
No, I think this is a Google the way. So I decided.
Of course, it's for SEO.
Yeah, it's for SEO. And the thing
but
is,
beyond that,
this is a great segue from what we just last said, though, right? We're talking about how the youth becomes like the just a huge press grabber, and this is an indicator of it. There we go. Someone just said what I was thinking. Thank you. All right, so let's keep going through this.
Yeah. So there's 25 young CEOs. Brian and Joey, you both happen to be on the list. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think, it just shows that there are a bunch of really successful young entrepreneurs, but I think this isn't everyone. I mean, there's a lot more young entrepreneurs out there, and I think one of the big things is, if you look at everyone on the list, they've all raised money or have that tied with them. And I think that's certainly, that mentality is you're only successful if you raise money as a young entrepreneur. I think that mentality needs to change. And that's why I think this article is great. I congratulate both of you on being in it, but I think, I think it needs to be a little more broader in terms of who is on it. I mean, if you notice, all of these people are pretty much in Silicon Valley as well.
Because it's a Silicon Valley tech list, dude.
Yeah.
So if there was a list that wasn't Silicon Valley tech oriented, it would have more people. I do want to mention though that this list, if you go through the entire list, I actually wanted to commend the author for including non-founders, right? So they had stars, right? So they're VCs like Kevin Carter from SV Angel, Kelton Lin from Twitter,
Aston Motes from Dropbox, the very first employee.
I love it how they're acknowledging the people who have been behind these companies, but may not necessarily need to be the founders.
Yep.
So this is very good. But I should mention that, at the end of the day, there are going to be lists. There are going to be articles that laud and applaud, innovation, all that stuff. But at the same time, we have to focus on what we all know best, especially with the art. The minute you start drinking your own Kool-Aid, that's when things go bad. And you need to realize that these articles mean nothing. They mean that you may have made it to a list. Good job. But that's it. It doesn't mean anything.
It's a small accomplishment.
It's a small accomplishment.
Yeah. So we just wanted to quickly touch on that. Another piece that we wanted to quickly talk about was friends of ours, Matt Schlitt and Mazi Kazaruni, the co-founders of Track.by. They've been crushing it. I mean, they've raised a little over $1 million.
Don't mention the raising.
Oh, yes. Good. I mean, good point.
Yeah,
it is a little validation.
No, but see, there we go. See, that's indicator. So I'm glad we're talking about this because that's a perfect indicator, and this is not your fault at all. But this is a perfect indicator of the culture of the raising. Let's just drop $1 million in a
it's in
sentence.
The very first paragraph.
Yeah, it's a validation thing. It's in the very first paragraph. And it's unfortunate that that's part of it. But here's the thing. Let's just focus on these guys and what they've built, right? I think
they've built a product that Lil Wayne, Drake, Trey Songz, and tons of more artists that aren't publicly announced yet are using to launch their music virally on Facebook. This idea is genius. I mean, Mozzie and Matt worked at Ustream, and so I actually met them when I was at Quick, which was a competitor to Ustream, over 3 years ago, and we've been good friends since. And what happened was Mozzie was the VIP support at Ustream, so he helped Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne, all these guys who are using Ustream basically use Ustream. And what he realized is that all these guys, they have these digital managers who just think that Twitter and Facebook, that's the definition of digital.
Yeah.
But Matt and Mozzie realized that there's no easy way for artists to launch their music virally. And that's exactly what they're doing with Tracks.by, which is a great idea.
I think the opportunity they have here, though, is to thwart the media spends that need to go into launching music. Especially, I think it's great that they were able to launch with a bang and have like big, ticket artists on here. But I think the power for them is going to be with the smaller audiences. The smaller bands and the smaller artists that have the ability to potentially go viral just by the nature of the quality of their music, which is what I'm excited about, rather than just the fact that they are, celebrities breed celebrities.
Yeah. I also think, the fact that they're able to get that high quality of artists on the platform and it hasn't even launched yet is pretty impressive on its own. I wish Matt and Mozzie the best success. They're rocking it right now, and Tracks.by is supposed to be launching pretty soon, and we'll be sure to give an update when their product actually launches.
Absolutely. And I want to see how this product works, right? Because again, the title of the article in Forbes, but good on them. Forbes is very legit.
I've actually played with the product. It works very well. They're introducing how Facebook has Tracks.by is introducing the love button.
Yeah.
A whole new way to do loyalty. Or loyalty to artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's just a little bit, I don't want to talk too much about it, but way to go, Matt and Mozzie. Congratulations.
Good work,
we
guys.
hope to see Tracks.by very soon.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Wired Do and put it into Guess That Business Model because that's not a Kids in the Valley article. All right. So let's move on to the next segment, which is Guess That Business Model. This is actually an excuse for us to talk about these startups, but at the same time have some fun. So we're going to do a round robin, including you, Shahed, where we'll mention a name and everybody says one line as to what you think the business model is, okay? All right. So we'll start with Zerply.
Am I starting?
Yeah, you start.
Premium themes and a premium recruiting feature.
What do you think it by the name? Because it's Zerp.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought you.
No, just we'll talk about it
yeah.
after this.
Yeah. Zerply. What is the name? I have no idea. Joey, you start.
I'll start. I think it's people playing laser tag and you Zerp people, and then you
How
play
did
laser
you
tag
get to
online.
that?
I don't know. I just came up with it.
I got something similar.
What do you think?
I think Zerply's sort of like socially connecting with people nearby. You Zerp them.
Yeah.
And you connect with them and you chat with them.
Because Zerp sounds like Zerp, right? Yeah. What do you think,
Yeah.
Joey?
Zerp, I don't know. It reminds me of like Nerf, like in like a Nerf gun.
Yeah.
Like zerping.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the name comes. All right, the
Pick
next
Plum?
Pick Plum.
Photo sharing service.
No, yeah, it's photos, but I think you like photos wrapped around plums. People throw people.
What? Where are you getting this?
And we're guessing the business model on the name, dude.
Sounded
Joey.
to me,
Yeah,
it sounded it's drink to me first.
Pick plum. I mean, there's apple, and so now the next evolution is plum. Like we got to use the fruit analogy. Totally. Pomegranate is next. I think
Yeah,
that's the
pick
next big one.
pomegranate. Pick palm.
Big palm.
Pom.
Shahed?
I thought it was a drink at first when I heard someone tell me about it. Other than that, I still haven't checked it out.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
it's-
we'll talk about it. But you thought it was a drink.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Big plum.
All right, next.
Pose.
it's a
Or
social
I think
network.
it's posse.
Is it posse?
I
It's
think-
P-O-S-E, dude.
I think they pronounce it posse.
Posse? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
it's a social network for posers.
Ooh.
That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to go with that as well.
Joey?
I'll just please. Yeah, I'll say that too. It sounds good.
Sincerely, I think that's it's like a thank you card service
Okay.
where you can like send thank yous.
Sincerely?
Yeah,
Daniel?
sincerely.
All about
Daniel.
spreading the love.
Yep.
Is that what you think, Joey? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sincere is a
Shahed.
very nice word.
Something around emails, something like an email add-on or something.
Yeah?
Okay.
I thought it was a legal service when I first heard it. I don't know. Just sincerely just feels like a legal thing. I don't know.
What about Quickie? I thought like
All right.
obviously something fast. I mean Quickie, fast messaging or something like that.
Speed.
Yeah, speed.
Let's just go with that.
Yeah. Wiredo. I don't know.
I thought it was a hairdo.
What do you do?
Like a hairdo with
A
wires.
subscription hair service.
I love
Right.
the chat.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea.
Dude, subscription hair service? What do you mean? Like you send new hairdos to people? Like wigs?
Yeah, you get wigs.
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
Like a subscription based
Someone
model.
listening out there, you have your next startup.
Yep.
Yes. Subscription. Toupees.
Yes, to pay.
Yes.
See, people in the chat room are even agreeing. I would buy a subscription hair service.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Awesome. All right. So what are these what do they actually do? Okay, let's go
Yes.
through them rapid fire. All right.
Zerply is
Zerply.
a basically a network of professionals, kind of like LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yep.
And they use their angle is very sort of premium, like sort of visual. I think
Yep.
the it's very sexy. It's definitely
Yeah.
very sexy. So I think I know Chris well, the founder. I think they've got something going, but I feel like they have obviously the 800-pound gorilla, which is LinkedIn,
Which is now a public company.
which is not. I mean, like so they have to have something that's just beyond sexiness. Like that's not going to sell a product.
Yeah. Pick Plum? What's Pick Plum, Joey?
Pick Plum started by Paul, right?
Yep,
Stammy.
Paul and Akshay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's awesome. I think we're going to see a lot more of these types of emerging photo sharing, photo creating from online to offline. Easy way to share your photos and prints, and definitely support that. Because
What I love about the model is that it's subscription.
Yeah.
makes sense.
I think there's a huge business there.
Absolutely.
This also reminds me, what's that? Stunna of the month. I don't know
is
if you guys
that?
ever checked it out.
No.
It's
Stunna.
Stunna of the month. You get stunner shades every month, and this is a great present. I think you guys should. I know.
What do you guys think about that underwear subscription, sort of like where you get underwear and socks delivered?
Oh, what was that? Yeah, I forgot what it's called. That was awesome. It's like something packs, right?
Why does that not work? I don't know.
What was it called? Some people need to know about this service. This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like it's for
Anyone in the chat
dudes to
room
get
know?
underwear sent to them because nobody likes shopping for underwear. Man packs. Thank
Man
you.
packs, yes.
Yes, thank you, Hunter. That's awesome. All right.
Next one.
Pose is a
Pose.
fashion sort of
Fashion app.
sharing. It's like social sharing around things you're wearing, and it's an app. They recently launched their Android app. They've got a lot of traction. Like I don't know if you guys have seen the community, but it's really vibrant. And I knew this since the beginning because I was thinking, what would be a niche social network that would have its own like crazy like
It's kind of like
blowing up-
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Blowing up.
But you know what it is though? I'm not going to generalize, but I think it's the fact that there's a female community.
Oh,
that's
it's absolutely
yeah.
that's our largest demographic.
Yeah. And let's just say that they're more patient on the internet and they spend more time collecting things and they're willing to do that.
Yeah. Sincerely.
It's like the online scrapbooking.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah.
You know, like.
Like,
it's
do you
definitely
like scrapbooking?
I love creative things. I think
Yeah.
I think the Pinterest. There's a lot of these new social kind of
You like
lookbook is another
Postagram?
one. What did you say, Steve?
What do you guys think about Postagram?
Postagram.
Isn't that part of
Is it
Sincerely?
Postgram or Postagram?
Postagram is part of Sincerely, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
As
we'll
we all
get to
Google
it.
furiously.
We'll get to it.
Sorry, it's Hipster.
Hips
What do you
Oh,
think of
hipster. Yes.
Sorry.
Hipster, where you can do
location tips, was it?
no, it's
Location
what do they call
photos.
it?
Sort of like an Instagram, but like with locations, and it automatically guesses your location. You check in, take a picture, and it like has beautiful titles where you could edit them.
I love it how they got a
Postcards.
domain
Yeah,
hipster.com.
they're postcards. They're basically you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
send postcards from your mobile device.
You know what I'm stoked about is
What are
the
you stoked about?
iCards app,
Yes.
where I can
It's,
send.
it's interesting that Apple's
physical-
getting in that business, but anyway.
That just shows you guys that actually I think they're just experimenting. It has legs, right?
Yeah.
All right, Quickie is a Wikipedia with a person talking about it.
Yeah, someone launched it. TechCrunch Disrupt
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, it's like reading
It's
Wikipedia.
the information experience, as they call it.
Nice.
It's
They
a
call
pretty
it
cool
you
service.
watch information.
Yeah.
But let me just say, like, until they have a robust iPad app where I wake up in the morning and goes, "Good morning, Brian. You have 10 meetings today. You need to be at XYZ location by 9 a.m."
Projected on your mirror.
Yeah. That's what I want. I don't want
Yeah.
watching information. I mean, I can just ask Siri that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, burn.
Yeah. Your good friend, MC Hammer.
Yes, Wired do. I actually don't know much about this, believe it or not. People think
I
that I know a
actually,
lot about
did you guys watch the summit video about Wiredo?
Yeah,
Oh, on Web 2.0.
It's, yeah, I know what I've seen on the video. It's like a deep search around relational, sort of this model of relational data, not just, I want this and this is one thing. There's usually it's a nucleus and there are molecules information that is attached to it. That's the interesting part.
Yeah, like because we're actually working with MC Hammer's associate within our funding round, in fact. So like we've been getting like inside scoop about Wiredo and like what they're planning on doing, like how are they planning on branching out. So Wiredo is basically like.
Are you allowed to
an
talk about
in-search-
this?
Yeah, it's fine. It's all over the Web 2.0 Summit, and he's fine with it. But Wiredo is basically a search engine that's like deep search, and it's like relationship search. Anyways, so it's basically like if you search for a location, it's sort of like Wolfram Alpha, but with search. If you guys know what I mean.
That doesn't make any sense, dude.
Do you guys know
Wolfram Alpha is a
Wolfram
search
Alpha?
engine.
Yeah, but that's with sort of with math, right?
No. It's not just
Yeah.
math. It's data,
Really?
dude.
Okay. Anyways, so if you guys watch,
Beach ball.
if you guys watch,
Yeah, I don't want. That's gonna knock something down. Keep on going, dude. Try your best to pitch this.
so MC Hammer is planning on launching Wiredo, which is a deep search engine.
You said that already. Tell us what it is.
That's all he told us.
There we
That's
go.
all
Okay, so we already knew that. All right, moving on.
deep relationship search.
All right.
All right. Our next segment and our last segment before we wrap it up is the monthly trend. I think this month we're going to be showcasing virtual hangouts. And there's two, I guess they are viral now too, but virtual hangouts, two great examples, Chill, where you can watch videos with your friends, and Shaker, which won TechCrunch Disrupt and recently raised $15 million,
Yeah.
are both great examples. We just saw Chill there up on the screen. Great domain name, by the way. But you can watch videos with your friends, which is a pretty cool service.
I think we'll see a lot of this. I always say kind of like the future of social networks is not just about content and curation, but a lot about communication, right? So like you're all watching like almost around a campfire.
You mean consumption?
and communication like, when you're actually talking about
I
the
guess so.
video and like it's an event
Communicative
that's going on.
consumption.
Yeah, and we're seeing Shaker,
This
their
is,
video right
video
now.
Shaker, yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
we're
No,
okay.
it's fine. But yeah, so that's that was Shaker. Chill. I mean, they're cool products. Is this a lasting business? I'm still a little skeptical.
Yeah, I don't think until we see more about how they plan to monetize, I don't want to put any words in their mouth. But
Yeah.
the reason why I think this is an interesting trend to talk about is that this is not something new, right? I mean, we had virtual
there's
worlds.
Shaker.
Yeah, we had virtual worlds and like.
Shaker's kind of like Second Life on Facebook.
Yeah, that's what Second Life.
Second Life, yeah.
So these things already existed for a while. But I honestly feel like they're only going to appeal to a certain segment of the market that's actually going to do this. I mean, are you going to sit at home all
Absolutely.
night?
I don't play any Zynga games.
Are you going to use Shaker?
No.
There we go.
I will play Angry Birds though. That is the only game and Tiny Wings that I play.
There we go.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think the business model, what is it going to be? Virtual goods? I mean, that's one big thing
Yeah.
that they're going to try to
Facebook
use.
credits, you know,
I don't
all
know.
that stuff. I don't see a business there.
I think there may be if they can make it it's just, is it a game or is it a service?
Have you
Right
guys
now-
seen PlayStation Network?
No.
Like the way like PlayStation, I don't know if any of you guys own PS3s, but there's like this PlayStation Online Network where it's sort of the same thing that gave me the similar idea with Shaker. It's basically like your avatar on PSN where you go and like you collaborate with like online people that are playing PS3. It's
kinda like Xbox Live.
Yes, I don't own an Xbox, by the way. But yeah, it's sort of the same thing. But like I thought, like Shaker's like an exact copy, but with your Facebook profile. Like, what's the point? Like, how are you guys going to be targeting? How are you guys going to be making money off of this?
Yeah. I think
You know what's cool though? What Xbox Live did? Do they do this in PSN? Shahed? Do they allow you to buy virtual clothes?
I don't think so. I haven't been on PSN in a while.
Okay, but Xbox Live allows you to buy like crazy stuff, like virtual T-shirts and pants and like shoes.
It's awesome. I mean, I remember watching like the Second Life documentary about how these people were making like, you know, a lot of money just being fashion designers on Second Life, you know, being able to like create your own clothing, create your own, and then sell it to people and virtual goods. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And if it's cool, I mean, if it's something that like I could see myself coming back to rather than just like something that I spend 5 minutes on then not return. But if I feel like it's something that the retention rate, I think is something that they're going to have to be looking at a lot of, like what makes people return, doing the gamification kind of things that Farmville does really well. You know, like those types of things that games do really well. So I think we'll see when it comes out in launch.
I think they can monetize, if anything, Daniel, expression. I think the act of expressing yourself, needing to create social approval, right? All this basically, I love it how companies are able to, especially like Shaker. What they've done really well is they've done a lot of sort of mad scientist dissecting, I feel, into what constitutes peer pressure in real life and how can they duplicate that in a virtual setting. I know it sounds very evil, but I'm sure they have these big relational
I mean, they couldn't have
maps.
just raised $15 million with just the idea that they have right now. Obviously, there's more to come.
I think the main reason why they raised that large amount of money, at least
'cause they
relatively,
could?
well, no, it's because one of the founders' dad was an investor, and you know there's a little bit of a sort of a inner story there that people have to dive a little deeper into.
Okay, well, I don't
With
think...
face value, I
yeah.
think that with the traction that they're getting and the ability for this thing to blow up through virality, I think is the reason why they're going to get that type of attention. And people are betting on this as potentially being like a Farmville type of virality, but because they allow so much interaction and expression, that could potentially become a business that blows up on its own. And that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps it up for our second episode of Future Web. Big thank you to our guest, Shahed Khan from
No
Chicago.
problem. Anytime. Yeah, anytime.
You can follow him on Twitter at ShahedKhan30.
Thank you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Daniel Brew.
You can follow me at JP.
And you can follow me at a Brian_Wong.
Cool. So that wraps up the second episode of Future Web. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.
Cheers!
Bye, guys.